Talk more about this with Carolyn Koch. She is a lawyer and jury consultant, also our very own chief legal correspondent, Paula Reed. Thanks so much, both of you. I want to start with you. I mean, you have been through many scenarios where you have jury selection going on. Nothing, of course, quite like what we're seeing now with the former president who, by all accounts, is staring right at the jurors and the potential jurors, which I'm sure is something that they have not witnessed before, and certainly they have not felt before. This particular potential alternate crying, saying that she thought she would be okay and she doesn't think she can be impartial.
Yeah, well, you know, the great thing about the jury system is it works, and that's a perfect example of somebody who is taking her duties seriously, giving it a lot of thought, and wanting to be a fair person and being honest about the fact that she can't handle it. And that's what, I mean, honestly, I've seen so many different situations with lay people's approaching important cases. They're up to the task of standing up to big corporations, standing up to the government. They do the right thing. And so I think it's encouraging, it should be encouraging to the defense and to the government to see jurors feeling that they can admit when they can't do it.
And others, of course, saying that they can do it and they feel that they can be impartial.
Yeah, absolutely. This has moved a lot faster than a lot of experts and even members of both sides of the two teams expected. We are on track, as the judge expected, to begin on Monday. And there were some folks who were suggesting that this could potentially take weeks. So it does appear that they have been able to, for now, seat a jury. Now they just got to seat these alternates.
Let me take a broader look at what this jury looks like so far. And we're just going to talk generally about their jobs.
Right.
Salesperson, investment banker, corporate lawyer, security engineer, English teacher, software engineer, civil litigator, retired wealth manager, speech therapist, physical therapist. First thing I'm thinking is this is very Manhattan.
Right, very educated.
Which is what you want. You want a jury to represent the people in the place in which this trial is happening.
Well, yes, in theory. I mean, that's the way the rules apply, but I don't think that's what the defense wants. And, you know, it's just interesting because the prosecutor is saying to the jury pool, when he has his time to do the questions, he's actually really just lecturing them, which is really not voir dire. He's telling them what to think. This is not about politics. This is not about who you're going to vote for. Well, it really is, and the jurors know that. That's why they're brave. That's why people are saying, I can't do this, because they know it's bigger than just what's in front of them. And so I just think that having a balance of power is important, and that even though this jury is representative of Manhattan, it's not really representative of the rest of the country. However, I think it's a good cross-section. And from Trump's perspective, I think I would be okay with who those people are.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because that is when you talked about it not necessarily being something that the defense is quite happy with. And that, of course, has been one of Trump's arguments going into this, and his lawyers as well, that it's Manhattan. I'm never going to get a fair trial. It's Manhattan, of course, is not the most conservative island in the world. Then I just want to dig deep specifically on one of the jurors, Paula, Juror 11. She is somebody that Trump's legal team wanted out. She's not married, doesn't have kids, works for a multinational apparel company, does not like Donald Trump's, quote, persona, only reads headlines in industry-specific publications. What are you hearing from the Trump team?
So they clearly tried to remove this person. The judge rejected that on the law. She said she could be impartial, so the judge is correct. But it was a little surprising. I've talked to some sources that she was not removed, because this does open an avenue of attack for the former president. He has to be careful because this is a juror, but this is certainly something that they're going to bring up on appeal. They are reserving every single issue. This issue of can they get a fair jury, right? They fought to get that specific number of how many people said at the outset, I can't even be impartial, I gotta go, right? Because they wanted to show how difficult it is in this venue. Then you see someone like this getting on the jury after she called him selfish and I believe self-serving, the graphic up. But that did surprise me that the judge let her stay, even though you know that this is going to be an issue not only in the court of public opinion, but in a possible appeal if there's a conviction.
Let's put that up. He just seems very selfish and self-serving, so I don't really appreciate that in any public servant. So I don't know him as a person, so I don't know how he is in terms of his integrity. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's an awkward position to be in when you're the defendant and you're being forced to either use a strike. And was that when they ran out of strikes?
I believe so, because it was very close to the end and they were trying to remove her for cause. I
Yeah.
believe so, but it was very chaotic. That's all happened really quickly. But I think that was part of the issue.
And if I were in that situation and I had, 2 strikes left, I'm like saving my strikes for the worst of the worst. And that's a big disadvantage, the way they did this jury selection, because you can't see all the dented apples at once. So you don't know if tomorrow is going to be worse than today. I would probably live with her too, because he isn't people's cup of tea. He knows that, and he's not trying to curry favor with anyone. I mean, that's sort of you'd think he would behave a little bit more with a judge, but he doesn't, because he is who he is.
Well, on that note, Paul, I got to ask you about the fact that the Assistant District Attorney, Josh Steinglass, is saying that he is not going to let the defense know ahead of time which witnesses are going to be brought once the trial starts. Presumably that will happen next week. And when Todd Blanche, who is Trump's lawyer, proposed that he would assure the district attorney's office that Trump would not post about the witnesses if they shared their witness list, the judge responded, "I don't think you can make that representation."
So there the judge is not only saying, no, I'm not going to force them to give you the witnesses, but also I don't think you have control over your client. So not great for the defense team there. But these are the legal consequences of these political attacks, right? If you are not abiding by the gag order, the district attorney's office says, look, we're not going to extend the courtesy that we normally would to give you these witnesses. And this is something that I'm sure is very frustrating to the Trump lawyers, because they would love to know who is coming down the pipe so that they can adequately prepare. But the district attorney's office, clearly that is an argument. That is a fear that is well-founded. The judge agreed.
And I should say, first of all, thank you both. I should say that there will be a hearing on the gag order that is in place, that the former president is maybe haunting a little bit. That's going to happen next week. Thanks so much for your expertise. Always good to see you, Paula. And coming up, is this it?